Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peace that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to a wonderful Wednesday. Really excited to have my guest in the building. I got Michelle Lang-Raymond back in the building, Executive Director of Acts on Stage and also the Musical Director for the Teen Summer Musical. We're going to be talking about the mini cast, y'all. Yes, that is the younger age folks who have been involved in the Teen Summer Musical. We're going to be hearing more about that from her. And later on in the show, we got Willis Walker joining us to tell us all about Black Men Run Seattle. Really excited because this is a phenomenal effort that's taking place all over the country. He's going to be telling us more about his connection to this amazing health and wellness initiative for Black men, and I'm excited to dive into that. But of course, it's the top of the show, so this is where you get to dive in. Go ahead and tag and share this show, however you're watching it, with others who you feel could benefit from the daily dose of dopeness we work to give you here on The Day with Trae. And if you can't watch our TV show, don't trip. We got you covered because you can listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You'll find us on whatever platform is your favorite. Now, I love to get into some theater talk. You know I do. So I'm so excited because up next we got Michelle Lang-Raymond in the building. What's up?
What's happening? You are like a Seattle treasure. I just love coming here, seriously, just to see your greatness. So I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but I just love sitting in your light. You're just you're just a wonder. I love it.
But you know, you are too. I mean, let me say, like when I was younger, I've never even been able to tell you this, but Amber Donaldson was a part of like your singing choir, your troupe. And I remember just listening to y'all and being so floored. And it still is flooring me to this day.
Thank you.
And so your musical prowess, I just want to talk about that because you have so many years in music and bringing music to life for others. Tell us about how you really got started.
You know what? So if you really talk about how I got started, like a lot of kids, especially a lot of Black kids, I'm from the South, you know, me and my cousins used to just be in the backyard. And when the adults would say, y'all come out here and do something, we would just show up, go out there and sing or put on plays or skits or whatever. That's really where it started. But with the group that you're referencing, Michelle Lang and Stillwater, that was really accidental. I used to go to camps in the summer with Young Life and other kinds of camps. And they would ask me to lead the kids in music. And I realized that these were not like your church kids or whatever. So I had to write music that was not already, you know, other. And so that actually is how I started writing and just producing. And then when I got back from one of those camps, I was like, you know, it was a Christmas and I had a little bit of pocket change. And I was like, what can I give my friends for a Christmas gift? So I was like, I'm just gonna record all these little songs that everybody would ask me to write. People used to ask me to write their wedding song, their kids a lullaby, their baby shower song. People would just ask me to write original like short songs. And so I did. And so one year I was like, I'm just gonna turn all those short songs into a CD at the time. And I'm gonna give it to my friends as a Christmas gift. And when I went to get it manufactured, the manufacturer, he said, how many do you want? I said, I don't know, like 100. He literally laughed in my face and was like, we don't do 100. And I was like, how many? He's like, you at least have to get 250. And I was like, okay. And then he did the thing where he was like, but you know, the price difference between 250 and 500 is just $25. And I was like, okay, well, give me 500. And he's like, but the price difference between 500 and 1,000 is just $10. And I was like, okay, give me 1,000. So girl, I turned into MC Hammer. I just drove around the neighborhood, literally passing out my CDs to anybody that would take it. And then because people heard that CD, they were like, well, who's your group? And so I threw a group together just to support the fact that I now had a CD. So it was really quite accidental. If I don't tell that story very often, but that's the God honest truth. That's really how my music career got started.
Well, I knew I had to ask because I said, you know, the beauty of, you know, having so many years in community and being so engaged, there's always stories that haven't been shared, right? Yes. And so I love that. And it's so interesting because for me, it's the harmonies. Oh, they get me every time.
It's
They
the
just,
fullness.
yeah, that's really what it is. And you have a great way of bringing that out in the young folks. Tell us a bit about how you then took all of your expertise in music and really stamped something special when it comes to the Teen Summer Musical.
You know, I think because of part of the story that I just told you in terms of me and my cousins singing in the backyard, and a little bit of the second story, which is how my first CD came. The other part of that story is I knew a teenager. His name is Calvin Gary. He goes by Junie, and he was, I think, 17 or 18 at the time. And when I was needing somebody to record my songs, he was available, and so he became the producer of my first CD. And so that, I think, that and my childhood sparked in me this notion that age is not a qualifier on what level of musicality you can have or what level of excellence you can have. And so when we look at Teen Summer Musical and other programs like that, I don't look at the kids like they can only do blah, blah, blah. My thought is, how much can I teach them to do? Because I'm not like the most skilled of musicians, quite frankly. So I feel like if I can do it, they can do it. And so when we look at those kids, this year we have 73 kids in the program. I want to say 22 of them are minis.
Wow.
And when I look at them, I look in their eyes and I look at how much do you want to learn? Not like what is your limit, but what is your ambition? Like how much do you want to learn? And I'm gonna lean into whatever that is.
Well, you know, the great thing about it is that it produces some phenomenal work and really confidence.
Yeah.
What I get to see, and especially seeing it in my son, which he, first off,
Love him.
this is everything for him. He loves it so much. And he really feels like, man, I'm a part of like a whole family over here. And like, man, these is my homies. Like, I can't wait. Cause you know, we're gonna have them on the show soon. But like the idea is that y'all are pouring in and building up that confidence when oftentimes the first time they're doing it, there's something special about it. But there's also a story here about the minis, because we know that the minis were there, then they kind of weren't, then they came back. Tell us a little bit about how that went down.
Yeah, well, the only reason that Teen Summer Musical did not have minis is because of the pandemic. So when we did the first show during in 2021, which was the first time we could have Teen Summer Musical back after the pandemic, the city just gave us a cap on how many kids we could have in the program. And we could only have 15, and none of them could be under 13. And that was really the only reason why we wouldn't have the minis. And that persisted for 2 years. And so this is the first year that we're actually able to bring the minis back in full force. Actually, this is the first year that the Teen Summer Musical is back in full force. So those 3 years, we did 1 year, we had 15 kids and we did the plays outside. Then the next year was 25 kids, and we had to do the play at Langston. Love Langston, but that's just not the model of Teen Summer Musical. In the third year, we got more kids, but still at Langston. And so this is the first year we're back at 73 kids, 20-something of them being minis, and then we're back at the Benaroya Hall. So that's that's sort of where the minis went and why they're back this year. And listen, when you see the show, normally the minis have one song and maybe a couple of scenes. This year, the minis have 3. Wow. Because they are that good. They are that great. Just really quick, when you talk about your son, I remember coming here to Converge years ago, and you shared with me just in the hallway that your son had said to you that he thinks he wants to be a performer, and that you were like, that's the first time that he had said something that he wanted to be, or that he said it with that kind of courage or realness. And I've been hearing stories like that more and more. One of my good friends, Tony Hayes at Classic Eats, he has a son, and he said the same thing to me. He said he was walking through the mall one day, and out of nowhere, his kid saw some other stuff happening, and he was like, I could do that. And it was like all of a sudden, we just really started hearing about these kids who at very young ages were making decisions about being creatives as a career. And I don't know how you feel about it, but like when I was a young girl growing up in the Black community especially, if you said anything like that, people kind of wrote it off like, you know, stop playing or think about a real career. You better get a real job. But now we're like really telling our kids at the mini level, we're telling them, listen, if you start now, you can really cultivate a career in the performing arts. And so it's just really cool to see a Johnny and other kids like him in the program who are like pursuing this for real, for real.
Yeah. No, it's such a special place in my heart because, you know, just the other day he was telling me, Mom, you know, he was giving me this whole philosophy. His philosophy is,
Okay.
you gotta take the right steps. You gotta take all of the steps. You can't skip the steps, and you gotta learn from your mistakes. It was like he was just giving me this whole spiel,
beautiful.
and I was like, "Oh, you are so poignant at 10 years old." And I'm like listening, and he said, "Mom, you took the steps. You did the steps and you learned from your mistakes and you started when you were young and look at now, you have your own TV show. I'm so proud to be your son, right?"
That's so awesome.
And it's because I started at 9. So when he said it to me, I mean, I'm a theater mom. I'm like, what? Because my oldest son was like, nah, it's not for me. Like, are you sure? He's like, no, I'm gonna play sports. I'm doing ball, right? Johnny's like, no, I could do both. I like football, but man, I love being on stage. And it was the Charlie. Now I don't want to say it wrong. It was Willy Wonka,
Uncle Willy.
Uncle Willy.
Uncle Willie's Chocolate Factory. Yeah.
Uncle Willie's Chocolate Factory. That was at the Paramount, right?
We did it twice. So we did it at the Paramount, and then the last time we did it was at Benaroya.
So I think we went to the Paramount. Okay. Because I remember and he was about 4 or something then. Okay. And he was enthralled. Okay. He wasn't fidgety. He wasn't, he was in it the whole time. Yeah. And that was the first time he said, you know, Mom, I think I want to do it. But I was like, oh, you're just maybe too young yet. And I didn't want him to get into the agency world because sometimes it's different. I've always understood the Teen Summer Musical as being like the greatest space for our babies in community to really understand it because y'all do it with so much love. So thank you for all the work you're doing in that way. Of course, we gotta make sure people get to the show this year. Michelle, let them know how they get their tickets.
Listen, we are on a mission because this is our first year back at Benaroya Hall. It's nice to say we're back at the Benaroya Hall. That's nice to say, but Benaroya is a big space. It is a big theater. And so we have a lot of seats to fill. We have 5 shows between August 23rd through the 25th. Right here. 5 shows from August 23rd through the 25th at the Benaroya Hall, the iconic Benaroya Hall, downtown Seattle. And we are trying to pack the place out. We know that is a busy weekend in Seattle. So we are really asking people to get your tickets now so you can lock in. Somewhere in those 5 shows, you are coming to see the Teen Summer Musicals production of Snow White and the Seven, Each One Teach One. It's written and directed by Isaiah Anderson Jr., with choreography by Coach Crosby and music by me, Michelle Lang-Raymond, and Cedric Paul Thomas, featuring 70 of the most incredible, amazing, talented kids from our community that you will see. It is gonna be an amazing time for the community.
You know, and people are getting a little glimpse at these parades. Y'all are killing it. I was just beyond. I mean, I'm like, I know it's my son, but just everybody pouring their everything. Thank you so much for all of your years of service in this way and for really being there for our children. We love you.
I'm excited to bring the minis here over the how many times we get to do it, because we don't often showcase the youngest parts of our cast. But this year we're gonna give them a little limelight.
Exactly. We got some shine coming their way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Y'all, this is a great way to start off, and we get to continue because there's an amazing initiative that's happening across the country, and we have a chapter right here in Seattle. And up next, we got Willis Walker in the building. He's going to tell us more about Black Men's Run Seattle. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Hey everybody, this is DJ OG1, co-founder of Portland's Hip Hop Week celebration, August 20th through the 26th, an entire week of celebrating the culture. And we have a special event called Hip Hop Wine and Chill, where we'll be celebrating and honoring Seattle's own Converge Media, Beza Gordon, and Amari Salisbury. Portland Hip Hop Week, August 20th through the 26th. For more information, log on to pdxhiphopweek.com.
Big Tobacco thinks they know everything. They think they know you, your community, the places you go, the way that you spend your time. They think they got you all figured out, down to a formula, a calculation based off of numbers of what they think they know. Show them they're wrong. Learn more at theythinktheyknowyou.org.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now is Willis Walker. What's up, Willis?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you, Trae.
Yeah, great to see you. You know, this is phenomenal because I'm like, we need to spotlight more opportunities for us to center Black men's health and wellness. And so tell us a bit about how you got involved with Black Men's Run Seattle.
So Black Men Run has been around for about 11 years. It was an organization or a run club started in Atlanta, Georgia. I recently started running with Black Men Run when I moved to Seattle. I saw a gentleman running downtown named Dion who would wear his Black Men Run jersey, and my son and I saw him a few times, and we just introduced ourselves and joined the club.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that simple. Sometimes these community initiatives where it's really about us pouring in to a singular effort. And then there's so many benefits that come from that. What are some of the things that you've been able to experience as a part of this amazing initiative?
You know, I like to tease and say Black Boy Joy. You know, we run every Sunday, and some of the guys get together on Thursdays, but more than anything, it's just a community. It's not necessarily so much about the fitness. All the guys have other activities they do, whether they run, they lift. You know, I do a lot of yoga, I'm into kettlebells, but running is just a cross train. But the real reason I go is because the brothers are just cool and we have a really nice morning. Jokes, music, you know, we bump our music, you know, it's just fun. And we run through Seward Park, making up a lot of racket, but there's just a lot of love. And some of the brothers are, you know, from 20 to 65, and it's just a great community to share jokes and laughter and just humor and all sorts of stuff. But mostly, that community is just impressive.
You know, that's what I love too, because you never know what may spawn from something like this until you join, until you begin to participate, get yourself involved. And it's great that you're able to do that and really find an amazing community in the midst of all of it by building together. You know, one of the things that I think I'm experiencing is the understanding, the explosion kind of us creating for us, right? And having some particular focus on Black men's health. Tell us a bit about that, because, you know, it's like it's all brothers getting together, y'all are vibing out, but there's clearly a singular initiative here when it comes to like, yo, we have to do this for us.
Well, there is, if you look at statistics, Black mental health, men particularly, are committing suicides at very high rates. And it's just kind of this secret silent killer. And about 4 years ago, some friends and I lost a friend to suicide. Some colleagues back home in Atlanta reached out concerned. This was right around the start of the pandemic. And it just became a passion for me at that point to check in. We call it checking in with the homies. And we would just take a little moment every Sunday. We connect via Zoom. And then that just sort of spawned into even more passion. I've been a yogi for 20 years, so I started doing yoga. We got a theologian that went to Harvard Divinity School. He would give, you know, little meditations. He'd give it like what he didn't call them a sermon because he didn't want to scare people off, so he called them reflections. So he would do a reflection, and then this sister named Tracy from Las Vegas, she would come and do meditation for the brothers, and we would literally listen to her talk us through a meditation for like 10 minutes. So that became our every Sunday format. And since then, it's just any opportunity I have to join my wife. She'll check out Black Girls Run, or we've been looking at Black people hike, or just any sort of experience where we can be with us and just fully let your hair down. You know, we speak a different language sometimes, we laugh at different jokes, but we all sort of understand each other. And what I appreciate about Black Men Run is these brothers are from everywhere. I mean, we represent everywhere from Zimbabwe, Ghana, to Philly, to New York, to Atlanta, to DC, and everywhere you go, like Denver, you know, I'll be in Denver in a couple weeks and I'll run with those guys. If I go to Atlanta, I'll run with those guys. My sons are coming here from Atlanta next week. They're gonna run with me Sunday in the park, in Seward Park, with these brothers. And it just feels good, man. I can't tell you how good it feels to go get a coffee, especially in a city like Seattle where you feel a little isolated because, you know, we don't have a big representation in the population. But to come to Seward Park and just like meet a bunch of brothers and laugh and tease, you know, some of the younger brothers call me old head, and I'm like, I didn't even know I was old head, you know. I just thought I was Unc. Now I'm old head, like, you know, but it's fun, you know. Some of these young brothers throw parties and they, you know, invite us and we come, or we'll have something and they'll come. I mean, it's just fun stuff. And it just makes you feel like a whole person. And some of the brothers don't run. Some brothers just show up to say hi. And they, we have a little moment when we start the run where we just ask each other questions and connect. Some guys just show up for that. We've had guys show up on a bike. I was hurt one time. I was thinking about just showing up on my skates. I mean, it's just, you just want to tap in.
This is such a beautiful effort, and I gotta ask you how it feels to be able to experience this, like with your sons. The fact that you have that connection there.
It's
Tell
crazy.
us about that.
Well, so my sons have been with me in this fitness journey forever. Even when they were little, I'd put them in a backpack and we'd skate down the beach when we lived in California. My wife, you met my wife. She's a fitness person as well, and that whole idea around Black health, men and women, and just taking care of yourself in such a way that you feel good in your body. It's just not about looking a certain way. It's not about trying to be skinny. It's more about just waking up feeling good and feeling strong. And my sons have always been around it. And so they've practiced with me. They've practiced with my wife, speaking of yoga. And it was a struggle in the early years. Sometimes they get mad. They just don't want to do it. And now sometimes they'll check into my virtual Zooms and they'll meet the fellas, and it's really become a great extension because my son goes to Morehouse, and a lot of the guys that join the chat are from Morehouse or from another HBCU or whatever, but now they're making those connections. They're making connections with guys that went to school everywhere, and they know them like family. And that's not something I intended. So when you say, how does it feel? I don't even know how to describe it. One of the guys now takes my son, this is a true story. One of the guys in the group had such affection for the group and such affection for my family that he spent over $1,000 to get my son golf lessons so they could hang out on the weekends. Now, wow. I didn't even ask for this. I didn't even ask for that. And so that's the kind of thing that I'm just like, I didn't know that wasn't a part of it. It was just, we wanted to check in, but it has blossomed into something far more substantive than that. Yeah. A guy just texted me this morning. He's at Martha's Vineyard. He just wanted to check in. And we've had families that have been impacted by death, and we celebrate those. This morning, in fact, this is a tough story, but this morning we experienced the loss of one of the guy's sisters, and we lost a father to one of the guys in the group. And we lit a candle this morning, and we said a special prayer. And it just becomes a moment where we just kind of connect and just be human. And it's hard sometimes for men to be vulnerable, but we've really worked hard on trying to share stories, be vulnerable, show our flaws, show our weaknesses, because you can't really be a good friend to somebody if you're afraid to be authentic and honest. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of what our group is about.
It's such an amazing effort here.
And finding Black Men Run was just like one more component of like, how do I add one more layer to this thing? And I love it.
Well, y'all have some logistics here that I want to make sure we get out on the record. Y'all are meeting at certain places. Yes. There's a way for folks to get engaged. I want you to look right there. Just let them know. How do they find all of these details?
Indeed. So if you want to run with Black Men Run, we meet every Sunday morning, typically at Seward Park. If there is a change, it'll be at the IG at BMR Seattle, and you can follow us there for any changes, but generally Seward Park. And 2 special runs that are coming up next Sunday on the 11th. We're doing what we call a historic run from the oldest African-American Episcopal Church, Fame, downtown. And we're going to take a tour around Cap Hill, and we're going to come back, and some of us even going to go to church with Pastor Carey. That should be really exciting. And we're going to shower too. We got showers downtown. And the following week, we're going to do a run between Station Coffee Houses in Beacon Hill and Columbia City. And this is a family run. We're inviting everyone. Black Girls Run, other run clubs around the city. We're going to diversify this thing and really celebrate these 2 businesses and drive a little traffic over there. So we're really excited about that. So please come out.
Oh my gosh, this is so phenomenal. Willis, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
And
appreciate
for
you.
sharing the phenomenal work and community y'all are building. It's so beautiful to hear.
Thank you much.
Wow. Y'all, this is clearly an episode of Building Community, and I'm going to wrap all of this amazingness up right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
In your 40s, your body break down.
The comedy of Leslie Jones.
You trying to have sex after 46? Put my leg down! Put my leg down!
The hilarious Leslie Jones.
I got osteoporosis.
Don't miss Leslie Jones.
Thank you so much.
Here on Back to Vesa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Vesa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Disenrollment is a situation whereby people whose birthright to be indigenous is being stolen from them by politicians that have been elected to lead.
Today, the latest or last chapter of the saga concerns the threatened physical ejectment of as many as 21 Nooksack families from their homes.
I think it come about by hatred for our family. That's what it's all about.
Our bloodline is still here. You know, they can't get rid of us.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. You know, I got to give a huge shout out to my guest today, Michelle Lang-Raymond, of course, building community through the Teen Summer Musical and Acts on Stage and the phenomenal work that they're doing with the minis and, of course, those who are coming as full-blown teens ready to tear down the house on that stage. But she shared with us some of that phenomenal history of why she brings her musicality and how she brings it to the Teen Summer Musical for those to feel confident when maybe it's the first time that they're doing music at all. And of course, huge shout out to Willis Walker for being here and shedding some light on Black Men Run Seattle, another community building initiative that's focusing on Black men's health and wellness, and honestly is building what he just told us is an amazing community of folks and brothers who are connecting with one another, checking in on one another, providing support to one another, and showing love. Straight up, you know what, whether it's showing love in the theater or with a run, what we're seeing here today is that people are pouring into the community and it makes the community better. You know, Willis could have been like, yo, I just run by myself every Sunday. But he was like, look, I asked the brother what this is about. Me and my son, we got connected, right? And they're bringing this information to all of us out there. If you know a brother who's looking for a community, who's wanting to run, who's wanting to get into fitness, maybe just join for that initial discussion early on those Sundays. Let them know about Black Men Run Seattle. And of course, we want to make sure we pack out the house for the Teen Summer Musical this year at Benaroya Hall, August 23rd through the 25th. You can get your tickets at seattlesymphony.org. All of the information is there. Please, let's support these amazing 70+ youth who are bringing their brilliance to the stage, in a big one, might I add. But of course, this is also a way that we get to pour into community. These are two different ways that you can be inspired, because you know I'm inspired, and I want you to be, because then you'll get engaged and you'll tell a friend to tell a friend. And by the end of the day, we'll have Benaroya packed out for these amazing 5 shows, and Black Men Run Seattle will grow even more. So make sure that y'all be inspired, because you too can be a part of the solution. No matter what it looks like, there's something that we can all benefit from when you bring your brilliance to the table. Thanks so much for watching today. Y'all know I'm going to be keeping it going for you tomorrow. Until then, at 11 a.m., y'all, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.